Welcome to Brandstorm, the podcast that talks to the people behind America's brands. I'm Dan Trzynski, president of Platypus Advertising and Design.
And I'm Nancy Christopher, PR director at Platypus. How do you keep a business going when your service or product is seasonal? Our guest today owns a pest control service called Mosquito Joe of Waukesha. And believe me, no pest can survive a winter in Wisconsin. So when it isn't summer, how does the company survive? Please welcome David Lepak, co-owner with his wife, Lynn, who unfortunately couldn't make it. But welcome to Brandstorm, David.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So when you started Mosquito Joe, it was for personal reasons. What happened?
Well, my wife Lynn and I were looking for business opportunities. Mosquito control was the farthest thing from our minds, but Lynn's a registered nurse. I'm a recovering politician. I began my professional career in politics and government. So we both have a desire to help people. And as we were examining business opportunities, we learned that the mosquito is the most dangerous creature.
Ferocious.
It causes more deaths in the world throughout history than any other creature. I mean, far and away. Each year, it's like twice the number of deaths that's caused by the second leading predator, which is humans. But we learned that, and there was increased attention to vector-borne diseases like West Nile and Zika. So our desire to help really kind of steered us in that direction and became something that we were interested in pursuing.
So what came first, the idea of buying a pest control franchise or seeing a Mosquito Joe franchise and saying, that's a good fit for me?
So we actually got into mosquito control and Mosquito Joe by accident. We downsized our home. We moved from a lake home in Muskego to a smaller home in Waukesha on an acre with some woods in the back. Didn't know we had a mosquito problem, and we put a deck on our house. We weren't spending much time outside until we did do that, and we put the deck on the house. First time we had a party with about 30 family and friends over. Sun started to go down, and you know what happens. Mosquitoes start to come out. So literally, we all had to pick up our plates and move inside the house. And again, we downsized. It's a smaller house. 30 people in our small house wasn't very comfortable. But we got through the night, and at the end of the night, we looked out our patio door at the deck and said, oh my gosh, are we ever going to be able to enjoy the deck, our outside? And we were just like, oh my gosh, this huge investment that we just made, what are we going to do? Well, I was a general manager of a chimney repair company at the time. I was at our booth at the home show, and I learned that mosquito control is a thing. I mean, we didn't even know that existed. So we decided to give it a try. Lynn admitted to me later she thought we were just throwing our money down the drain, and I'll have to admit I was a little skeptical as well, but it worked, and we were shocked and surprised and very happy. And we said, oh my gosh, more people need to know about this. We didn't know about it. We talked to our friends. Did you know this existed? Nobody, So we said, more people need to know about this. So, that's how we kind of started looking into this.
What were you looking for in a franchisee, and what made you choose Mosquito Joe?
So we didn't know that we were really looking for a franchise.
Okay.
But we did actually start with another franchise of mosquito control, and they were actually advertising on Milwaukee radio for franchisees in this area. So we started down the path with a different franchise, and they were not very responsive. They didn't do what they said they were going to do when they said they were going to do it. We'll get you this, never got it.
That's a red flag.
We'll call you here. And Lynn and I looked at each other and said, oh my gosh, can we really invest our life savings with a company that can't call us when they say they're going to call us? And we both said, no, this isn't something that's going to work. And we were a little bit disappointed. And then she said, well, why don't you see what else is out there? And that's how we found Mosquito Joe. Called Mosquito Joe and found out that they were actually looking for franchisees in Wisconsin. We became the first. And totally different story. Very responsive. Did exactly what they said they were going to do when they were going to do it. Had an opportunity to meet their leadership team and stuff like that. So developed a very high level of comfort with them and made our decision pretty easy.
So you said you were the first. Are there other Mosquito Joe franchises now in the area?
Shortly after us, one opened up in Madison. So there's one in Madison and then us in southeastern Wisconsin.
Do you have free reign over southeastern Wisconsin, or do you have to go with a specific territory?
Our territory is protected, so if other franchisees do move into southeast Wisconsin, our territory is protected. Until there's other franchisees, we have the flexibility to service anywhere we want to in southeastern Wisconsin that makes sense for us. So we do have customers outside of Waukesha County. We've got customers in Hales Corners, in Greenfield. We've got some up in Germantown. We've got a few in Jefferson County. So
wonderful. Tell us about some of your products.
Well, the primary service that we offer, it's called a barrier spray program. One of our customers said, so it's kind of like a force field back in Star Trek. So that's really that kind of puts it into perspective. That's how they looked at it, and it's a good analogy. So it's a barrier spray program. So what we do is we treat the areas around the property. We get to know our customers, find out what they do in their yard, where they spend their time. But then we treat the areas around their yard and around their house where the mosquitoes tend to hang out. And we treat with 3 different products. So we treat with a product that will kill the mosquitoes that are there at the time, but we're dealing with a flying insect in an outside environment. Mosquitoes are continuing, they're prolific breeders as well, so they're continuing to come into the area. The other 2 products that we use adhere to the foliage. When mosquitoes come into that area after the treatment, they will consume that product, and one of them will inhibit their ability to reproduce. The other one will kill them. So we're treating them on 3 different fronts. The products last about 3 weeks. We suggest customers get on a regular treatment schedule. You'll see a significant improvement after the first treatment, 75 to 80% reduction in mosquitoes. It really takes 3 treatments to break the breeding cycle on a property and get to maximum effectiveness. We get to about 95% reduction in mosquitoes after that 3rd treatment.
Everybody's really focused on the environment and being environmentally friendly. Do you have any natural products?
We do have several all-natural products. Like I said, the primary products that we use, people are concerned about toxicity as well.
Right.
So these are, our primary products are very low toxicity products. The US EPA regulates our products and classifies them according to toxicity. They classify them from caution, warning, danger, poison. Those are the 4 classifications. Everything we use is in that lowest toxicity level of caution. But, some people are still uncomfortable with that. So we do have all-natural products. They're not as effective at killing mosquitoes as the synthetic products that we use, but that is an alternative. One of them is basically a garlic extract.
I was going to ask about garlic because I see a lot of that online, like home remedy stuff.
Garlic, that's our one of our natural products. Garlic is a natural repellent. Again, it's a repellent. It doesn't kill the mosquitoes, but it will keep them away, and it doesn't last 3 weeks. It lasts about 2 weeks. The other natural product we have is rosemary and peppermint, also natural repellents again. So.
Well, garlic also gets rid of vampires.
Or neighbors. If you're breathing it on them.
Joe, what percentage of your business is commercial versus residential?
We do have some commercial customers. We do a couple of horse farms. We've got a couple of manufacturing facilities. We've done some corporate events at corporate facilities. We've got a photography studio. But the vast majority of our customers right now is residential.
And I apologize. I just called you Joe.
I answered to Joe.
I asked him that in the pre-show talk to us. Like, how often do you get called Joe?
I do answer to Joe.
It's David. Sorry, Joe.
Right.
No, sorry, David. Oh, well.
Tell us a little bit about the pointed difference between you and other pest control services. I mean, you hear of Orkin and this and that, but I never heard anybody that just focused in on mosquitoes.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Dan. That's what our major kind of differentiator is mosquito control is all we do. We want to be the best at it. So that's the main difference is that
ants, roaches, termites, you leave that to somebody else.
We leave that to the Orkins and the others.
All right.
So some of the other ones have gotten into outdoor pest control, have gotten into mosquito control. Some of the lawn care companies have gotten into mosquito control. But like I said, mosquito control is all we do, and that's our focus. Our customer service is a differentiator. We're not happy if the customers aren't happy. We believe that our products are guaranteed, and if they're not working for any reason, we'll go back and retreat, and ultimately hasn't happened very often, but give them a refund if they're just not totally happy. So it's customer service. We also believe we use the best products in the industry. So
okay, so we said at the top of the show we're going to be talking about seasonal businesses. So
right.
What exactly is the length of the mosquito season in Wisconsin?
So when you talk about weather in Wisconsin, is there really a average or typical? It's hard to say.
Winter and mosquito.
That's right.
2 seasons.
Right.
So mosquitoes are interesting. So we've got several different species in Wisconsin. Some of them hibernate, and others will lay eggs in the fall before they die. And those eggs will lay dormant through the Wisconsin winters. So what happens is once you see about 5 consecutive days of 50-degree temperatures in Wisconsin in the spring, those hibernating mosquitoes will begin to reemerge. And if you get a little bit of rain, those eggs will start to hatch and create mosquitoes. So in Wisconsin, again, typically, if there is a typical, is mid to late April. So then if it stays, above 50 degrees, you'll have mosquitoes until the temperatures consistently drop below 50 degrees. And in the fall, that typically happens late September, early October.
So it seems like it would be important to hit those eggs that are laying there over the winter as early as possible in April.
We encourage our customers to get started early because one female mosquito can produce up to 100 million new mosquitoes within about a month. They breed 3 times in their lifetime. They live about a month. They breed 3 times, and each time they lay 300 eggs. So, and in about
Prolific.
10 eggs, those eggs will hatch. So, yeah, 100 million. So every mosquito that we can take care of in late August, early May, late April, early May, we can eliminate having to get rid of 100 million in later May or June or July.
And likewise, if you're having a warm season and it's September, October, does it make sense to try to kill them then so they don't come and lay dormant all winter long and come back?
Exactly the same thing. People say, well, mosquitoes have died down in August. We're going to stop treatments. Well, we say if we can prevent them from laying eggs and things in the late fall before the weather turns, you're going to be better off in the spring as well.
What do you and Lynn do in the off season?
Lynn's a full-time nurse, so she's continuing to work full-time so that I can have fun and kill bugs. And this really is a full-time job. I mean, you think, oh, it's seasonal, we have nothing to do, but there is a lot of work that we still need to do in the off season. We need to, our vans need to be maintained. All of our equipment, we use backpack blowers, those need to be maintained annually. Reevaluating what last season did, updating customer lists. We're also starting to market the program. So right now we've got, an offer out for customers, a discount if they prepay for the season, and we're getting customer calls. So we've already got about 50 customers signed up for the coming season. So we're getting calls and have to deal with that, and it really is a full-time business for me.
I can see that, but that's also a lot of money going out and nothing coming in, so that's got to be a challenge.
Well,
for
if you're
you.
prepaying for the full season, that's really a smart marketing
that's
plan.
true. Right?
It is. We take a little hit in the margin, but by April, by the end of April, we have to have all our products purchased again so that we're ready to go and the vans are well stocked. We need all of our marketing material renewed, all of our signs.
Is it a liquid that then gets sprayed?
Yeah, it's a liquid. It's 3 liquids that are primary product. They're all liquid products. One of the other things we do is we walk the property before we actually start spraying, looking for standing waters, looking for sources of breeding sites. Mosquitoes can lay eggs in something as small as a bottle cap upside down filled with water in your backyard, something that we might walk past a dozen times, not realize, and there's 300 mosquitoes, boom. So we walk the property and look for that, and then we do have one of our products is a larvicide that we put in that standing water that will kill any larva that develops there.
David, how many franchises for Mosquito Joe are there around the country?
There is just under 300 franchise territories around the country.
I ask you that because I noticed on your website that you have 87,000 reviews and nearly 90% of those are 4- and 5-star ratings. What's the secret to getting those great customer responses?
I think it goes back to what I said earlier, customer service. Really, that's something that is in the DNA of Mosquito Joe, bending over backwards to really first of all, understand the customer's needs and meet those needs. Developing a relationship with them. We spend a fair amount of time on the phone with them when they call to sign up for the service. We don't just say, "Oh, okay, what's your credit card number? You're all set." We want to really learn what they do in their yard, how they enjoy it, so that we can treat those areas. Some people have large lots, but they're not spending any time in like the back 40. We don't need to treat that area. But I think it does come down to customer service. We're going to, like I said, bend over backwards to make sure that they're happy with what we're doing, understand what we're doing. We visit the customers each time we show up. We don't just show up and do the treatment. We knock on the door, say hi, make sure the dogs are in and things like that. Windows are closed. So it comes down to customer service.
Let's talk about another common business problem. Assuming you can't keep the same number of full-time staff year-round in a seasonal business, how do you handle staffing and to maintain that level of customer service? And
staffing is definitely the biggest challenge. I think that's true for most
businesses,
right now,
right. It's a
with where
common
we're at
problem
in the economy. So,
and I think even stronger when it's a seasonal business because where do you find the people?
I mean, we look from a lot of different places. Colleges, we had 2 college students, one from Whitewater, one from Gateway Technical College. One recent Whitewater graduate was with us last year. So that's kind of our primary market pull, but it comes down to training. I mean, the training program that Mosquito Joe has, which is one of the other things that attracted us to the business, is tremendous. So Lynn and I, as owners, were required to do over 40 hours of online training and then a week's worth of training. So we have to know all aspects of the business ourselves, and we need to kind of develop that kind of training program for our staff as well to make sure that they're properly equipped. And it's a big challenge because you're dealing with, in our case, a lot of times college students, they don't have a strong work ethic.
Right.
They don't have a real desire they're just working to make money to pay their tuition. But that training is ongoing. And as owners, we need to also kind of oversee that, making sure that if there's an issue with them, we're correcting it right away. We need to be prepared to jump in and do whatever needs to be done whenever it needs to be done as owners as well.
I thought this was funny, but who came up with the slogan, "Stop smacking yourself in the face"? Did that come from the franchisor? Or
That
did
was
you
me.
do that?
No, that was me,
you.
Nancy.
That's you. Oh,
No.
excellent. I
I
thought that
love
might be a
that.
corporate.
No, that was not me.
Oh, you didn't?
No. Mosquito Joe, the branding, the message that we try to do is filled with humor and
Love it.
lightheartedness.
I love it.
That is one of the things that attracted us. But annually, Mosquito Joe has a contest amongst franchisees to come up with a new slogan, and then they work that into some of the marketing campaigns the following year. But I don't know specifically who came up with "Stop Slapping Yourself." I use it a lot when I'm speaking at chamber events and things like that, and it really catches people's attention. But one of the things that attracted us to Mosquito Joe is the quality of the leadership team and the support staff. They have a tremendous marketing team, and I'm sure somebody on the marketing team came up with that.
Do they use managed marketing? Are you all required to do exactly what they say? Do you have some flexibility?
We have a fair amount of flexibility. So they have a direct mail program that we're required to participate in. And then as far as our budget allows, and we have total flexibility beyond that. That's the only requirement we have from corporate. So we've supplemented with things like advertising in golf directories and golf scorecards and things like that. So again, it's more of a budgetary thing for us. Corporate does need to approve the artwork and the design just to protect the brand, but we have a fair amount of flexibility.
When do you start ramping up for spring? Is it now already? I mean, when we're recording this, it's early January.
Yeah,
but,
as we sit here in January,
Hard to think about mosquitoes, but
Right.
No, it is hard to think about mosquitoes, but yeah, we are definitely ramping up already. We're recruiting for staff. We started with one van. We finished the season with two. We know that we're going to need to start this season with a third van, so we need to get that third van ordered and prepared, need to get the new blowers for that van and outfit that van. So we're recruiting. We're, looking at our budgets, new budgets, marketing plans, putting all that stuff together. So there's a lot of work to be done right now to make sure that we have a successful season again in 2019.
David, there's lots of entrepreneurs like yourself who are possibly looking at franchises to start a business. You can start it on your own, or you can get a little help from the franchisor. What's your best advice when going through the vetting process of finding a franchise?
Like I said, we kind of accidentally fell into the whole franchise thing. We were looking at starting some other businesses. I guess the best advice, one, talk to a lot of the existing franchisees. We talked to over 20 existing Mosquito Joe franchisees before we made our decision. They gave us a list. We called everybody on the list, and then we added to that list. And I would highly recommend, of course, the franchisor is not going to give you anybody
Right, that's
to
mad.
call.
Right.
So we randomly picked a few more to call, just out of the blue, and said, hey, we wanted to talk to them as well.
Did you
So-
focus on the Midwest?
The list they gave us was all over the country, but the ones that we focused on adding to their list that they gave us were in this area, Chicago, one up in Minnesota, in the northern climates, because that was a concern to us, our short season compared to Louisiana, Florida, and North Carolina. So that's the first thing. I would just talk to a lot of franchisees and get all of your questions answered. As we were going through this process, Lynn would say, do we have to call another one? And I was like, well, we don't have to, but...
No, but it's just the right thing to do.
And I would tell you that every single call we made, we got a great insight or a tidbit or something that helped our business or helped our decision. So that's important. The other thing is know what you're getting into. I mean, you're signing a thick franchise agreement. Understand that thoroughly, because it's going to have a lot of stuff in there that, not having been in this business, you don't understand. You don't know what they're referring to. You don't know what they're talking about. And
Did you get legal help I mean, have a lawyer
You
read that?
you can get legal help. Here's one of the things that I'll tell you. We didn't, because the franchise agreement is the franchise agreement. They're not going to
They're
make
not
any
gonna
changes.
change it, right.
They're the gorilla in the room. They're
Right,
not going to
right.
make any changes.
Right.
So, we're like, well, why should we pay an attorney to tell us what we should change when we can't change it anyway? So we didn't. But, it provoked a lot of questions for us, and we got answers to all those questions to make sure that we really fully understand what our responsibilities were, what their responsibilities were, what we were going to be involved in. So that's the second thing. Get comfortable with the team. You're entering into a long-term relationship with these folks. We went out to Virginia Beach, their corporate headquarters, and met the leadership team, met the support staff. So if that's not something that they're willing to do for you, I would be a little bit nervous. But I would say meet the folks that are running the franchise and get comfortable with that.
And vet them.
Yes.
See how long they've been there. Has there been a lot of turnover in that leadership team? And, I think
Exactly.
that's important.
Once we visited Virginia Beach, we came back with a real high level of comfort with the leadership team, what they were doing, and with the support staff. The other thing, and probably the most important, is do something that you can be passionate about. Don't just look at this as a business or a job. I spoke earlier about Lynn and my desire to help people. When we get calls from people, we did a customer, brand new house in the middle of the woods. Me and Jordan, our other technician that started off the season with us, went back and we looked at each other and said, "Oh my gosh, is this going to work?"
It's impossible.
You
right?
know,
Yeah.
So, we did the treatment, and we get a call about a week later from the woman, and she said, "Oh my God, we couldn't even go outside before your treatment. We're outside. My husband and I look at each other and we say, oh my gosh, is this really possible? Is this true?" So find some, we get stories like that. There's a customer we have in Hales Corners, has a daughter with some health issues. Mosquito bites could be a real issue for her. And every time we show up, they come to the door and say like, "Oh my gosh, we are so thank you. Our daughter can enjoy." So find something that you'll enjoy doing and that you can be passionate about. And that's what we found in Mosquito Joe.
If people have questions, what's the best way to connect with you?
Number of different ways. They can call our office, 262-232-7570. That's our office in Waukesha. We can accept emails, waukeshacounty@mosquitojoe.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com, Mosquito Joe of Waukesha County. And we've got a website, www.waukeshacounty.mosquitojoe.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, David.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Interesting business.
Thank you very
Continued
much.
success to you. It's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
All in your first year.
That's right.
Fantastic. Okay, and to everyone listening, if you like what you heard today, please don't forget to share, review, and subscribe to Brandstorm.
This is Dan Trzynski along with Nancy Christopher at Platypus Advertising and Design, an awesome company that creates perceptions that influence choice for a variety of regional, national, and global brands on a daily basis. We hope you'll join us next week for another episode of Brandstorm.